Commander Zethkar stood on the bridge of his warship, the Eternal Dominion, and looked at the holographic display floating before him. The blue planet rotating slowly in the projection seemed unremarkable, small, peaceful. The data scrolling beside it confirmed what he already knew. This would be easy. "Commander, the intelligence report is complete," said Krill, his second-in-command. The younger officer's scales were bright green, a sign of his inexperience. He had only seen 3 conquests. This would be his 4th. Zethkar took the datapad and read through it. The species called themselves humans. They had just discovered faster-than-light travel 10 of their years ago. Their technology was primitive. Their weapons were crude. They had only 3 colonies outside their home world, all within their own star system. The largest colony held barely 5,000 individuals. "Physical assessment," Zethkar asked. "Weak, sir," Krill replied. "They stand upright on 2 legs. Average height is shorter than our species. No natural armor, no claws, no venom. Their bite force is pathetic. They require constant consumption of water and food. They are easily injured." Zethkar felt satisfaction warm his chest. The Vryn Collective had been expanding through this region of space for 2 centuries. 17 star systems now belonged to them. This would be the 18th. The War Council had given him 30 warships for this mission. He had argued that it was too many. 5 would have been enough. "What is their response to our ultimatum?" Zethkar asked. "We sent it to all their colonies 6 hours ago, sir. We demanded complete surrender and submission to the collective. We told them they have 48 hours to comply." And, "Nothing yet, Commander, but their communication networks are buzzing with activity. We have intercepted thousands of messages. They seem to be in chaos." Zethkar nodded. That was normal. Lesser species always panicked when they realized a superior force had arrived. Soon, their leaders would see reason. They would understand that resistance was futile. The Vryn Collective offered membership, protection, and technology. All it required was obedience. Admiral Tevsin appeared on the communication screen. The fleet commander's purple scales were marked with scars from a dozen campaigns. "Zethkar, status report." "We are in position, Admiral. All 30 ships are ready. We await the human response to our ultimatum." "How long do you think before they surrender?" "My estimate is 12 hours, sir. Perhaps less. They have no significant military force. Our scouts report their largest ship carries only basic projectile weapons. They cannot harm us." Tevsin laughed, a harsh clicking sound. "Projectile weapons? How primitive. When I was your age, Zethkar, we faced species with plasma cannons and shield technology. They still fell. These humans will surrender before we fire a single shot." The communication ended. Zethkar returned to studying the data. The human homeworld was called Earth. It orbited a yellow star. The gravity was listed as 1.0 by their measurement system. That meant nothing to him. He noted that Earth had a single moon, unusually large for a planet its size. The atmosphere was oxygen-rich. The surface was mostly water with several large land masses. "Sir, we are receiving a response from the humans," Krill said suddenly. "Already? Put it through." The holographic display changed. A human appeared. Male based on the intelligence data. He wore a dark blue uniform with symbols on the chest. His face was smooth with short hair on top of his head and strange pale skin. His eyes were brown and looked directly at the camera. "This is Secretary General Martin Hayes of the United Earth Government. We have received your ultimatum." The human's voice was calm. Too calm. "We have discussed your demands with our colonial representatives, our military command, and our civilian population." Zethkar leaned forward. This was the moment. The surrender would come now. "Our answer is no." Zethkar blinked. Had he heard correctly? The human continued. You have entered our space without permission. You have threatened our people. You have demanded our submission. We reject all of it. Withdraw your ships from the Sol system immediately or face the consequences." Krill made a choking sound. Several officers on the bridge turned to stare at the display. "Furthermore," the human said, and now Zethkar detected something in his voice. Anger. "Let me be clear. We know you think we are weak. We know you believe you can conquer us easily. We have intercepted your communications. We have translated your language. We know what you think of us." The human leaned closer to his camera. "You think we are prey. You think we will run. You think we will beg. You are wrong. This is our home. These are our worlds. We built them. We will defend them. Come if you want. But understand this. We will not surrender. We will not submit. We will fight you with everything we have, and if you destroy us, we will make sure you remember the cost." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Zethkar stared at the empty space where the human's face had been. "Did he just—" Krill started to say. "Yes," Zethkar said quietly. "He refused." "But sir, they cannot win. They have no chance. Surely they understand that?" Apparently not. Zethkar stood and walked to the command console. He pressed several buttons, opening a channel to all ship commanders in the fleet. "All ships, prepare for combat operations. The humans have rejected our ultimatum. We will proceed with subjugation protocols. Target their military installations first. Avoid civilian casualties where possible. We want them to surrender, not to create martyrs." The officers around the bridge began working, preparing the fleet for battle. Zethkar watched them and felt a small discomfort in his stomach. Something about the human's message bothered him. The lack of fear, the certainty in his voice. As if the human believed they actually had a chance. Ridiculous, of course. The humans were primitive. They were weak. They would learn quickly that defiance was foolish. "Sir," Krill said, looking up from his console, "we are receiving another transmission. This one is being broadcast on all frequencies, from Earth to all their colonies." "What does it say?" Krill read from his screen. "It is only 3 words, sir, in their English language. Come and take it." Around the bridge, several Vryn officers laughed. The phrase was absurd, childish bravado from a species about to be conquered. But Zethkar did not laugh. He remembered the human's eyes, the calm certainty, the complete absence of fear. For just a moment, Zethkar felt something unfamiliar, something he had not experienced in his 20 years of military service, a small cold sensation at the base of his spine. He pushed it away. It was nothing. Nervousness before battle, perhaps. He was a commander of the Vryn collective. He had never lost. These humans would be no different than any other prey species. "Set course for their mining station on the moon they call Titan," he ordered. "We will take it first and show them the futility of resistance." The Eternal Dominion and its fleet began to move. Behind them, Earth continued to spin, blue and peaceful in the darkness. Zethkar did not know that in 6 weeks he would understand what that cold feeling had been. It had been the beginning of true dread. The journey to Titan took 3 days. Zethkar spent most of that time reviewing tactical data and planning the assault. Titan Station was a mining facility built into the frozen surface of Saturn's largest moon. According to intelligence, it housed 237 humans. Most were civilians. Only 50 were listed as security personnel. "We are approaching Titan, Commander," Krill announced. "The station is visible on our sensors." Zethkar looked at the tactical display. The station was small, built partially underground, with several surface structures for docking and processing. It had minimal defensive weapons. 2-point defense turrets designed to destroy small asteroids. Nothing that could threaten a Vryn warship. "Open a channel to the station," Zethkar ordered. A moment later, a human woman appeared on the screen. She had dark skin and short black hair. Her eyes were steady as she looked at him. The nameplate on her uniform read, Commander Lisa Grant. This is Commander Zeth Carr of the Vrin Collective. Your station is surrounded. You have 1 hour to evacuate all personnel and surrender the facility. If you comply, no one will be harmed. Lisa Grant studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was not a happy smile. Commander Zeth Carr, I have been expecting your call. My answer is the same as Secretary General Hayes gave you. No. Commander Grant, be reasonable. You have no military assets. We have 5 warships in orbit. You cannot win. Why sacrifice lives for no purpose? No purpose? Lisa Grant's smile faded. This is our home, Commander. We built this station with our own hands. We have lived here for 12 years. We have families here. Children were born here. And you want us to just leave because you tell us to? Yes, it is logical. It is the only choice that makes sense. Then I guess humans don't make sense to you. She looked off screen for a moment, then back at him. I am ordering all non-essential personnel to evacuate. They will leave in our transport ships. You will allow them safe passage, but I and 43 others will remain. This station is ours. If you want it, you will have to take it from us. The transmission ended before Zeth Carr could respond. He stared at the empty screen. 43 defenders, against his entire force. It was insane. Sir, the human transports are launching, Krill reported. 3 ships, heading toward the inner system. Should we stop them? No. Let them go. We are here for the station, not refugees. Zeth Carr stood. Prepare landing forces. 500 soldiers. We will take the station with minimal damage. The landing craft descended toward Titan 2 hours later. Zeth Carr watched from the Eternal Dominion as his soldiers entered the station. The first reports were normal, corridors clear, no resistance. The humans seemed to have abandoned their positions. Then the explosions started. Contact! Contact! Ambush in Section 7! The voice on the radio was panicked. We have casualties! They are using explosive traps! Section 12 is sealed. We cannot get through. They have welded the doors. We are under fire. They are in the walls, in the ceiling! Zeth Carr listened to the chaos with growing alarm. His tactical display showed his forces scattered throughout the station. Red markers indicated casualties. Already 12 soldiers were dead. 20 more wounded. How are they doing this? He demanded. There are only 43 of them. They know the station, sir, Krill said, studying the data. They are using the maintenance tunnels. They attack, then retreat before we can respond. They have rigged explosive devices throughout the facility. Our soldiers are afraid to advance. Afraid? They are Vrin warriors. Tell them to push forward. But the casualties kept mounting. The humans did not fight like any enemy Zeth Carr had faced before. They did not hold positions. They did not meet his forces in open combat. They struck from darkness, killed quickly, and vanished. They used the station itself as a weapon, venting atmosphere in some sections, flooding others with toxic gases from the mining equipment. Hours passed. The fighting moved deeper into the station. Zeth Carr had now lost 70 soldiers. He had killed only 6 humans. The ratio was impossible, humiliating. Sir, we have reached the central control room, a squad leader reported. Commander Grant is here. She is alone. She is not armed. Capture her alive, Zeth Carr ordered. Bring her to me. But even as he spoke, he saw the readings change on his display. Power surges throughout the station, multiple energy spikes building rapidly. Commander! Lisa Grant's face appeared on his screen one last time. Behind her, Zeth Carr could see a room filled with mining explosives. Enough to destroy the entire station. I told you, if you want our home, you can have what is left of it. Wait! Commander, do not— One more thing, Lisa Grant said. Her hand moved toward a control panel. Tell your leaders, tell your whole species, this is what happens when you threaten humans. We do not surrender. We do not submit. We take you with us. The transmission cut off. Zethkar had 3 seconds to shout orders before Titan Station exploded. The blast was massive, a ball of fire and debris that expanded outward like a small sun. The station disintegrated. 3 Vryn ships that had been too close were caught in the explosion. Their shields failed. The ships were destroyed instantly. When the fireball faded, there was nothing left. No station, no humans, no victory, just debris and the frozen surface of Titan, scarred with a new crater. Zethkar sat in his command chair and stared at the empty space where the station had been. Around him, the bridge was silent. No one spoke. No one moved. They had won, technically. The station was destroyed, but they had lost 3 ships. 173 soldiers were dead, and the humans had taken themselves rather than surrender. "Commander," Krill said quietly. "What kind of species does that? They had no chance. They could have lived. Why did they choose death?" Zethkar did not answer. He could not answer. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. Every other species had a survival instinct. When faced with certain death, they surrendered. They chose to live, even under occupation, but not humans. These humans had looked at their options and chosen to die fighting rather than live in defeat. "Sir," another officer said, "we are receiving reports from the fleet. The humans are broadcasting footage of the battle. They are showing it to all their colonies. They are calling Commander Grant and her people heroes." "Heroes?" Zethkar repeated. "They died for nothing. They accomplished nothing." "I do not think the humans see it that way, sir." Zethkar pulled up the human broadcasts. He saw images of Lisa Grant smiling with her crew before the battle. He saw messages from humans across their system. They were not mourning. They were angry. They were promising revenge. They were preparing for war. And in the back of his mind, that cold feeling returned. Stronger now, because Zethkar was beginning to understand something terrible. The humans were not like other species. They did not think like other species. They would rather die than submit. And if they were all like Lisa Grant and her 43 defenders, then this war would not be quick. It would be very, very long and very, very costly. "Set course for Jupiter," Zethkar ordered, his voice heavy. "We continue the campaign. Alert all ships. Expect heavy resistance. Expect more suicide attacks. The humans will not make this easy." As the fleet moved away from Titan, Zethkar looked one last time at the debris field. Somewhere in that wreckage were the bodies of humans who had chosen death over surrender. He wondered how many more would make that same choice. He wondered if he had enough ships to finish this war, and he wondered, for the first time in his military career, if perhaps the Vryn Collective had made a terrible mistake. Zethkar could not sleep. He stood in his private quarters aboard the Eternal Dominion, staring at the datapad in his hands. After the disaster at Titan, he had ordered his intelligence officers to gather everything they could about human history and culture. What he was reading made the cold feeling in his spine grow worse. The door chimed. "Enter," Zethkar said. Krill stepped inside. His scales were duller now, showing stress. "Sir, I thought you should know. We lost another patrol ship today. The human frigate Defiant destroyed it near Jupiter's orbit." "One ship? How many human ships were involved?" "Just one, sir. Captain Jake Morrison commands it. He attacks our scouts, damages them, and retreats before reinforcements arrive. He has destroyed 4 of our vessels in the past week." Zethkar set down the datapad. "A single ship, doing this much damage." "Yes, sir. He knows our patrol patterns. He strikes fast and disappears. Admiral Tevsin is furious. He has ordered 8 ships to hunt Morrison down, but they cannot catch him." "Of course they cannot." Zethkar picked up the datapad again. "Read this, Krill. Read what I have learned about these humans." Krill took the pad and began scrolling through the information. His scales slowly changed to a sickly yellow color. "This cannot be accurate, sir. It says Earth's gravity is 1.3 times our standard." How can such a weak species survive in such conditions? They are not weak, Krill. We were wrong. Read further. Krill continued reading. Earth's atmosphere contains oxygen at dangerous levels. The surface temperature varies wildly. The planet experiences violent weather, including hurricanes, tornadoes, and lightning storms. The oceans contain predators that can swallow a Vryn whole. The land has animals with claws, teeth, venom, disease. He looked up. Sir, this planet sounds like a death world. Most species would not survive there. Exactly. And humans evolved there. They became the dominant species on a planet designed to kill them. Keep reading. Krill scrolled further. His scales turned almost white. Sir, this section about human history. They have been fighting wars for their entire existence. Thousands of years of constant warfare. They created weapons that could destroy their own planet. They survived ice ages, plagues that killed millions, natural disasters, and they kept fighting, even among themselves. Yes. And notice what happens when they face extinction threats. They do not surrender, they adapt, they fight harder. There are records here of human cities being completely destroyed and the survivors rebuilding and continuing the war. They have a saying, they will never give up. Krill set down the data pad. His hands were shaking. Commander, what have we done? What kind of species have we attacked? Before Zethkar could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. Battle stations! A voice shouted over the speakers. Human attack! Human attack! Zethkar and Krill rushed to the bridge. The tactical display showed 6 human cruisers emerging from behind Jupiter's largest moon. They were heading straight for the Vryn fleet. 6 ships against 30. Admiral Tevsin's voice came over the communication channel. The humans have gone mad. All ships, engage and destroy. But as the battle unfolded, Zethkar watched in horror as the humans employed tactics he had never imagined. Their ships were smaller and weaker, but they moved with desperate speed. They launched nuclear missiles that the Vryn shields could barely stop. They fired kinetic weapons that punched through armor. And when their ships were damaged beyond repair, the human crews did the unthinkable. They rammed. Zethkar watched as a human cruiser, engines burning, smashed directly into a Vryn battleship. The collision destroyed both vessels instantly. Another human ship, already venting atmosphere and on fire, drove itself into a second Vryn ship. Both exploded in a ball of nuclear fire. They are ramming us! Tevsin screamed. They are sacrificing themselves! What kind of insane... His transmission cut off. His flagship had been hit by 3 nuclear missiles simultaneously. It was heavily damaged, but still functional. Then a human fighter, tiny compared to the capital ships, flew straight into the flagship's bridge. The fighter's reactor detonated on impact. Admiral Tevsin died instantly. His flagship began to drift, powerless. Sir, Krill shouted. Incoming fighter! He is heading for us! Zethkar saw it on the display. A single human fighter, trailing smoke, engines screaming as it accelerated toward the Eternal Dominion. Point defense guns fired, tearing into the small craft, but it kept coming. Evasive maneuvers, Zethkar ordered. Too late. The fighter crashed into the ship's hangar bay. The explosion tore through 3 decks. 70 Vryn died in seconds. Zethkar was thrown from his chair as the ship rocked violently. Emergency systems engaged, sealing the breaches. But the damage was done. The battle lasted 20 minutes. When it ended, all 6 human ships were destroyed. But 5 Vryn vessels were also gone, including the flagship. 3 more were badly damaged, and the human captain, Jake Morrison, aboard the Defiant, had escaped again. Zethkar stood among the wreckage of his command bridge. Fires burned in several consoles. Medical teams were carrying out wounded officers. The smell of burned electronics filled the air. Did we intercept any transmissions from the human fighter that hit us? Zethkar asked quietly. Yes, sir, an officer replied. The pilot's name was Danny Kowalski, age 24. He transmitted a message before impact. "Do you want to hear it? Play it." The recording crackled with static. Then came a human voice, young and somehow amused. "Well, boys, this is it. If anyone finds this recording, tell my mom I love her. Tell my little sister to be brave. And tell these alien bastards that Earth says hello." There was a pause, then laughter. Actual laughter. "For Earth, see you in hell." Then static, then the explosion. Zethkar stood frozen. The human had been laughing as he drove his ship into certain death, not crying, not begging, not even angry, just laughing as if his own death was a joke he found amusing. "Commander," Krill said, his voice shaking, "I do not understand. Why would he laugh? He was about to die, he knew it. Why would he laugh?" "Because," Zethkar said slowly, "he wanted to. Because he chose his death. He was not killed, he was not defeated. He decided how and when he would die, and he chose to die fighting us. That gave him joy." "That is insane." "No, Krill, that is human." Zethkar looked at the damage around him. "We think death is the worst outcome. For us, survival is everything. But humans are different. They have things they value more than survival. Honor, freedom, their home, their families. They will die for these things without hesitation, and that makes them more dangerous than any species we have ever faced. Then how do we defeat them?" Zethkar did not answer immediately. He was thinking about Lisa Grant, choosing to destroy her station rather than surrender. He was thinking about Danny Kowalski, laughing as he died. He was thinking about the human message that still played on endless repeat across their communication networks. "Come and take it." "I do not know," Zethkar finally admitted. "But we are going to need more ships. Many more ships." A communication officer interrupted. "Sir, we are receiving intelligence from our spy network in human space. The Earth government has issued a full mobilization order. Every human capable of fighting is being drafted. They are converting civilian ships to military use. They are building weapons factories on every colony. The entire species is preparing for war." "How many soldiers do they have?" "Current estimates suggest they can field an army of 100 million within a month, sir. Perhaps more." 100 million. Zethkar felt dizzy. The entire Vryn military numbered 10 million soldiers, and the humans could field 10 times that number. On a death world, fighting for their home, with no fear of death. "Send a message to the collective," Zethkar ordered. "Tell them we need reinforcements, massive reinforcements. This war is not going to be quick." As the crew worked to send the message, Zethkar returned to his quarters. He picked up the datapad again and continued reading about human history. He read about their wars, their weapons, their determination, and slowly he began to understand something terrible. The Vryn Collective had not attacked a weak species. They had attacked apex predators from a death world, predators who had spent 10,000 years learning how to kill. And now those predators were angry. For the first time in his life, Commander Zethkar truly understood what it meant to be afraid. 3 weeks had passed since the battle near Jupiter. Zethkar now commanded what remained of the Vryn fleet. Admiral Tevsin was dead. 12 ships had been destroyed. 8 more were too damaged to fight. That left only 10 functional warships. Reinforcements were coming, but they would take months to arrive. Zethkar knew he should wait. He should pull back and regroup. But the Collective Council had sent him orders, clear orders. Take Earth immediately or face execution for failure. So now he stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, watching Earth grow larger on the screen. "All ships report ready, Commander," Krill said. His scales were gray now. Zethkar knew his own scales looked no better. "Begin the assault," Zethkar ordered. The fleet moved into Earth's orbit. Zethkar expected to see a planet preparing to surrender. Instead, he saw a fortress. Every major city had been darkened to avoid targeting. Defense platforms surrounded the planet like a deadly ring. Thousands of missiles were positioned in orbit, and the human military was broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is General Karen Blake of Earth Defense Command. You have entered our space. You have killed our people. Now you will learn what it costs to attack humanity. Every man, woman, and child on this planet is ready to fight. We will not surrender. We will not retreat. This is our world, and you will not take it." The battle began immediately. Human defense platforms opened fire. Missiles streaked toward the Vryn ships. Zethkar's fleet returned fire, destroying platforms one by one, but for every platform destroyed, more missiles launched. The humans were using everything. Nuclear warheads, kinetic projectiles, even weaponized satellites that crashed into Vryn ships. "Sir, we are taking heavy damage," an officer shouted. "Shields at 60% and falling. Continue the attack. Focus fire on their orbital defenses." But the humans had prepared for this. They had hidden weapons everywhere. Military satellites that looked civilian suddenly revealed missile batteries. Space stations that appeared unarmed opened fire with railguns, and human fighters swarmed from hidden bases on the moon, attacking in waves that never seemed to end. Lieutenant Kevin Barnes led one such wave. Zethkar watched on his tactical display as the human pilot performed maneuvers that should have killed him. His fighter pulled turns that generated forces no living being should survive, but Barnes kept flying, kept fighting, destroying 2 Vryn fighters before his ship was finally hit. "That pilot should be dead," Krill said, watching the same display. "Those turns would crush our pilots. The force would break their bones." "Humans evolved in higher gravity," Zethkar reminded him. "Their bodies are stronger than ours. They can survive forces that would kill us." The battle raged for hours. Slowly, painfully, the Vryn fleet pushed through the orbital defenses. They destroyed platforms. They cleared the satellite weapons. They pushed back the human fighters. But the cost was terrible. 2 more Vryn ships were destroyed. 4 others were badly damaged, and still Earth itself remained untouched. "Sir, we need to land ground forces," Krill said. "We cannot win from orbit. The humans have too many hidden weapons." Zethkar knew he was right. "Prepare landing forces. Target the continent they call Europe. Intelligence says their defense coordination center is located there." The landing began at dawn. Vryn troops descended in armored carriers, expecting to face human military forces. Instead, they found something worse. They found an entire population ready to fight. Commander Rick Santos led the ground defense. He had been a farmer before the war. Now he commanded 50,000 militia fighters, ordinary humans who had taken up weapons to defend their home. They had no formal military training. They had no advanced weapons. But they knew the land. They knew every building, every street, every hiding place. The Vryn forces landed in what intelligence said was a civilian area. It was supposed to be safe. Instead, buildings exploded, streets erupted with gunfire. Civilians who should have been running away were shooting from windows. Even children were throwing homemade explosives. "What is happening?" Zethkar demanded, listening to the panicked reports from his ground commanders. "Why are civilians attacking? Where is their military?" "Sir, I think their entire population is their military," Krill said, his voice hollow. "They have armed everyone, even the young, even the old. Everyone is fighting." One report came from a squad that had landed near a small town. They had been ambushed by a group led by a woman named Maria Lopez. She was a school teacher. She had organized her neighbors, armed them with hunting weapons and farming tools, and turned them into a fighting force. When Vryn soldiers finally captured some of her fighters, one of them was just 16 years old. "Why?" a Vryn officer had asked the young human. "Why do you fight? You are a child. You should be protected, hidden, safe." The teenager had laughed. "Protected? You came to my home. You threatened my family. My little brother is 8 years old." You think I am going to let him grow up as your slave? I would rather die. We all would. That report, more than any battle, shook Zethkar to his core. The Vryn protected their young above all else. Children were precious, sacred. But humans armed their young and sent them into battle, not because they were cruel, but because every human, no matter how young or old, had chosen to fight rather than live under occupation. Then the weapon came. Dr. Amy Chen had been working for months on a secret project. She was a scientist who specialized in biology. She had studied the Vryn prisoners carefully. She had found their weakness. The Vryn had incredibly sensitive hearing and nervous systems. It made them excellent soldiers in normal conditions, but it also made them vulnerable. The weapon she created was simple, a sonic device that generated frequencies specifically designed to cause pain to Vryn biology. It did not kill, but it hurt. It hurt so much that Vryn soldiers could not function. They dropped their weapons. They fell to their knees. Some went mad from the pain. General Karen Blake deployed the weapon across every front. Suddenly, Vryn forces that had been advancing were retreating. Soldiers who had never known fear were terrified. The pain was constant, unending, and humans with their different biology were completely unaffected. Commander, our ground forces are collapsing, Krill reported. Casualties are mounting. The soldiers are terrified. They have never experienced anything like this. They are begging to be evacuated. Zethkar watched his perfect invasion fall apart. The humans had turned their own weakness, their primitive technology, into strength. They had studied their enemy, found vulnerabilities, created weapons specifically designed to counter Vryn advantages. And now, they were winning. Sir, incoming transmission from General Blake. The human woman appeared on screen. She looked exhausted. Her uniform was dirty. There was blood on her face from a minor wound, but her eyes were hard and determined. Commander Zethkar, you have lost half your fleet. Your ground forces are in retreat. Your soldiers are suffering. I am offering you a chance to end this. Withdraw from Earth space. Leave our system. Never return. Do this, and we will stop fighting. And if I refuse, then we will kill every one of your soldiers. We will destroy every one of your ships, and then we will follow you home. She leaned forward. Did you think we were only defending? We have ships ready to strike your colonies. We have weapons positioned near 3 of your worlds. If you do not leave, we will make you pay a price you cannot imagine. You are bluffing. Am I? General Blake smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Your intelligence is terrible, Commander. You have been so focused on attacking us that you never noticed our stealth ships leaving Earth months ago. They are in your space right now, waiting, watching. One word from me and they will act. Zethkar felt ice in his veins. What kind of weapons? The kind that end worlds, Commander. The kind we built when we thought we might destroy ourselves. We did not use them on each other because we learned wisdom. But we kept them, just in case we needed them against something worse than ourselves, something like you. You would kill billions of innocent Vryn civilians? Would I? General Blake's voice became cold. You came to kill us. You came to conquer our world. You threatened our children. You gave us no choice. So yes, Commander, if you do not leave, I will give the order. Your people will die, billions of them, and it will be your fault for starting this war. The transmission ended. Zethkar stood on his damaged bridge, surrounded by wounded officers and failing systems. He thought about his orders from the collective. Take Earth or die trying. He thought about his duty, his honor, his career. Then he thought about the humans, about Lisa Grant, who destroyed her station rather than surrender, about Danny Kowalski, who laughed as he died, about Maria Lopez, who armed children to defend their home, about every human who had chosen death over submission. And he thought about 3 Vryn colony worlds, peaceful and undefended, with human weapons aimed at them from the darkness. Sir, Krill said quietly. What are your orders? Zethkar closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he knew what he had to do. He knew it would mean his death. The collective would execute him for this. But he also knew he could not win. Not against an entire species willing to die to the last human. Not against an enemy that would destroy itself just to take you with them. Signal all ships, Zethkar said, his voice heavy with defeat. We are withdrawing. The Eternal Dominion limped away from Earth, damaged and bleeding atmosphere from a dozen hull breaches. Around it, the remains of the Vryn fleet followed. 8 ships out of 30 that had started the campaign. 8 ships filled with traumatized soldiers who had learned what it meant to fight an enemy that valued freedom more than life. Zethkar sat in his command chair and watched Earth shrink on the display. The beautiful blue planet that had seemed so peaceful just weeks ago, he understood now. The peace had been an illusion. Earth was not peaceful. It was patient, waiting, watching, ready to defend itself with absolute violence if threatened. Commander, Krill said softly, the Collective Council is demanding a full report. They want to know why we are withdrawing without completing the conquest. Tell them the truth, Zethkar replied. Tell them we failed. Tell them the humans were stronger than we anticipated. Tell them I take full responsibility. Sir, they will execute you. They have already issued the order. When we return home, you are to be arrested and tried for cowardice and failure. I know. Zethkar looked at his second-in-command. But at least our people will live. At least the colonies will be safe. That is worth my life. A communication request came through. Zethkar almost ignored it. But the source code indicated it was from Earth, from General Karen Blake herself. He accepted the transmission. The human general appeared on screen. She still looked exhausted, but there was something else in her eyes now. Not triumph, not joy. Just weariness. Commander Zethkar, I wanted to speak with you before you left our system. Why? To mock me? To celebrate your victory? No. General Blake shook her head. There are no winners in war, Commander. Only survivors. I wanted you to know that I verified your withdrawal order. Your ships are leaving. Your ground forces are evacuating. You kept your word. So I am keeping mine. I have recalled our stealth ships. Your colonies are safe. Zethkar felt something inside him break. You mean the weapons aimed at our worlds? They are standing down. I gave you a choice. You made the right one. I will not punish your people for your government's mistake. She paused. I want you to understand something, Commander. We did not want this war. We never wanted to fight you. All we wanted was to be left alone. To live on our worlds in peace. You forced this conflict. I understand that now. Do you? Do you really understand what you did? General Blake leaned closer to her camera. You came to conquer us. You thought we were weak, primitive, easy prey. You did not bother to learn about us. You did not try diplomacy. You just attacked. And because of that, thousands of humans are dead. Thousands of your own people are dead. For what? Pride, expansion, greed? For the collective, for our empire, for our way of life. Your way of life requires conquering others. That is not a way of life, Commander. That is a disease, and humanity will not be infected by it. She sat back. I am sending you a message to deliver to your government. Make sure they receive it. A data file transferred to Zethkar's console. He opened it. It was a simple text message written in both human and Vryn languages. To the Vryn Collective Council. You attacked our home without provocation. You threatened our people. You forced us to defend ourselves. We have proven we can and will fight. We have shown you that conquest comes with a price you cannot afford to pay. This is our only warning. Leave us alone. Do not return to our space. Do not threaten our colonies. Do not attack our ships. If you do, we will not stop at defense. We will bring the war to you. We will show you what happens when you awaken a sleeping predator. Choose wisely. Choose peace. Because if you choose war again, we will finish it. Signed, Secretary General Martin Hayes, United Earth Government. Zethkar read the message 3 times. Each time, the cold feeling in his spine grew stronger. This was not a plea for mercy. This was not begging for peace. This was a threat, a promise. The humans were telling the entire Vryn collective that they would go to war if provoked again. And after everything Zethkar had witnessed, he believed them completely. "I will deliver your message," Zethkar said. "I will make sure they understand." "Good. One more thing, Commander." General Blake's expression softened slightly. "I am sorry for your losses. I am sorry for the soldiers who died following your orders. They were just doing their duty, like my people were doing theirs. War is terrible. It turns good people into killers and makes killers into heroes. I hope your people learn from this. I hope they choose a better path." The transmission ended. Zethkar sat in silence for a long time. Around him, the bridge crew worked quietly, repairing systems and plotting the course home. Home to arrest, home to execution, home to a government that would not understand what had happened here. Days passed. The fleet traveled through deep space, far from any star. Zethkar spent his time writing a detailed report. Not the official report the Council wanted. A real report. An honest account of everything he had learned about humanity. He wrote about their history, about their death world, about their evolution as predators. He wrote about their weapons and their tactics. He wrote about their willingness to die for freedom. He wrote about Lisa Grant and Danny Kowalski and Maria Lopez and every human who had shown him that some things were worth more than survival. And he wrote about fear, real fear, not the fear of death, which every species understood, but the fear of an enemy that did not think like you, that did not value what you valued, that could not be intimidated or bribed or reasoned with when their home was threatened. He wrote, "I thought I understood warfare. I have fought 17 campaigns and won them all, but I never fought an enemy like humanity. They are not stronger than us in technology. They are not superior in military strength. But they have something we lack. They have a willingness to sacrifice everything for what they believe in. They would rather burn their own world to ashes than see it conquered. And that makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy." We made a terrible mistake attacking them. Not because we lost, though we did, but because we have shown them that the galaxy is hostile. We have taught them that other species will try to conquer them if given the chance. And now, they will prepare. They will build weapons. They will make alliances. They will expand their military. And in 100 years, or 200, or 500, humanity will emerge as a major galactic power. And when that happens, they will remember what we did. They will remember that we tried to enslave them. And they will not forget. My final recommendation to the Council: make peace with humanity. Formally apologize. Offer reparations. Establish diplomatic relations. Treat them as equals, because they are equals. They have earned that respect with blood. Do this, and perhaps we can build a future where our species coexist peacefully. Fail to do this, and I promise you, there will come a day when human warships appear in our skies. And when that day comes, we will lose. We will lose because humans do not fight to win. They fight to ensure their enemy loses. They fight with no fear of death. They fight with absolute determination, and no species in this galaxy can match that. Zethkar sealed the report and transmitted it to the Council. He did not know if they would read it. He did not know if they would believe it. But he had done his duty. He had told them the truth. The fleet arrived home 3 weeks later. As expected, Vryn's security forces were waiting. They arrested Zethkar the moment he stepped off his ship. They took him to a prison cell to await trial. The charges were cowardice, failure, and unauthorized retreat in the face of the enemy. Zethkar accepted his fate calmly. He spent his days in the cell reading reports from the frontier. The Collective Council had received his report and the human message. After much debate, they had made a decision. They would not attack humanity again. They would recognize human sovereignty over the Sol system. They would establish a neutral zone between human and Vryn space, and they would send a diplomatic envoy to Earth to begin formal peace negotiations. Other species in the galaxy had learned about the war. They had heard about the humans who refused to surrender, who destroyed their own stations rather than accept conquest, who armed their children to defend their homes, who threatened to destroy entire worlds rather than submit. And slowly, quietly, every major power in the region gave the Sol system a wide berth. Humanity was marked as dangerous, as unpredictable, as a species that would rather die than kneel. Months after his imprisonment, Zethkar received a message. The source was unknown, but the encryption key suggested it came from outside Vryn space. He opened it carefully. It was from Jake Morrison, the human captain who had survived the war. The message was simple. Commander Zethkar, I heard about your imprisonment. I heard you were executed for refusing to continue the war. I am sorry. You made the right choice. You saved your people and mine from further bloodshed. That took courage. I want you to know that we humans respect you for that decision. We did not want to kill your soldiers. We did not want to destroy your ships. We just wanted to live in peace. You understood that in the end. You gave us that peace. Thank you. If there is anything we can do for you, let us know. We do not forget our debts. Captain Jake Morrison, Earth Defense Force. Zethkar read the message 3 times. Then he deleted it. The gesture was kind, but he could not accept help from the species that had destroyed his career. Yet he found himself smiling. Even in victory, the humans showed mercy, even to their enemies. They were predators, yes, dangerous, absolutely, but they were also capable of compassion, of honor, of respect for worthy opponents. Perhaps there was hope for the galaxy after all. Zethkar lay on his prison bed and closed his eyes. In his dreams, he saw Earth again, that beautiful blue planet, and he saw the humans standing on their world, looking up at the stars with defiance in their eyes. They had won their freedom. They had proven they could not be conquered, and now the galaxy would have to accept them as equals. He had gone to conquer humanity, and instead, he had learned what true dread felt like. Not the fear of death, but the fear of a species that refused to be afraid. The fear of an enemy that would rather die than surrender. The fear of knowing that somewhere in the darkness of space, humanity was watching, waiting, preparing, ready to defend their freedom with absolute violence if threatened again. And that fear, Zethkar understood now, was the beginning of respect, the end